Hi, my name is Devin Godby. I'm the program coordinator for the University's Charleston Culinary Arts program. Today I'm going to show you some quick tips on how to use butternut squash. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the ends. Just want to be careful that the squash doesn't roll on you. Let's throw those over here. Okay, now you can begin. I'm going to use a vegetable peeler to peel this. You can do it in one complete, we're going to do it in one complete piece right now for what we're going to be using it for today. So this makes it very easy. You can use a knife, but it can be a little dangerous when you're peeling this. So you can peel towards yourself or away from yourself, whatever you're more comfortable with. Okay, so to begin cubing, I'm going to start by cutting it in half. I'm going to start with one. Now you can cut this in any size that you would like. I'm just going to make a nice medium cube. It's important to have a nice sharp knife, because if you have a dull knife, it's easier to actually cut yourself with a dull knife than it is a nice sharp one, because you have to put more pressure onto the knife itself. Okay, we finished cubing the top half of the butternut squash, so now we've come to the bulb end. And there's going to be some seeds, so we're going to have to just take a tablespoon and just scoop those out. It's very simple. You want to just clean all the fibers. And after you do that, you can just continue to cube the rest of the squash. Okay, so we're going to start by drizzling a little bit of olive oil just over the squash. You don't want to use too much, you want just enough to coat. Then we're going to add a little bit of black pepper. Now you can use whatever type of seasoning that you like, depending on what you're using the squash for. I'm just doing the simple salt and pepper because it really brings out the natural flavor of the squash. If you want them to be a little sweeter, you could add some cinnamon, even a little bit of sugar. You could add some smokier spices like cumin or some smoked paprika. You could even give them a little spice with some chipotle powder, some cayenne, whatever you like. It's very versatile. So now I'm going to show you how to use the butternut squash whole. We're actually going to cut it in half to roast in two separate pieces. You would use it in this manner if you were wanting to use it in a recipe where it needs to be mashed, like a lasagna, or as a side dish. So you just want to be careful because this can be a little difficult, and just take your time. I usually score it first, then you can come back through and cut it completely through. We're going to need to scrape out the seeds again. As you notice, for this, we don't even have to cut the ends off to do this step. Just cut it in half, scrape out the seeds, and then it's going to be ready to go into the oven. So we've cut the butternut squash in half, we've cleaned the seeds. So now we're going to season this and get it ready for the oven. So again, we're just going to use olive oil, just a little drizzle, a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of coarse black pepper, just going to give it a little rub to make sure it coats evenly. Now we don't want, for the products that we're going to be making with this squash, we want it to be nice and smooth and creamy. So we're going to turn it upside down so we don't get any color. Okay, so now we've seasoned the squash and everything's ready to go into the oven. So we have our cubes. Our halves. Now remember, the cubes are going to take about 20 minutes. You're going to want to flip them about halfway through to make sure they get a nice even golden color. And the halves will probably take a little bit longer, about 30 to 40 minutes depending on the size of the squash. And you're going to want to roast those, and then when they're finished, you're going to let them cool, and we'll be able to scoop out the flesh. It's going to be nice and buttery, and you'll be able to use it in your recipe. And the cubes will be ready to use as soon as they come out and cooled, ready to put in any dish that you want to use them in. Okay, I have an offset spatula. You can use any spatula that you have in your kitchen. Just gonna, it's very delicate when it's roasted, so you're just gonna flip it over. Now I'm gonna show you how easy this is to scrape out of the nice buttery flesh out of the shell. At this point, you can use this as a side dish. You can use it in a lasagna or anything, actually, as well as on top of a pizza. It kind of gives that nice buttery texture. Maybe if you can't have cheese or you have a sensitivity to dairy products, and I guarantee you're gonna love it. Okay, so now we have our butternut squash cubes. They have a wonderful golden color, which is the caramel color is going to add a delicious flavor to them. So you can eat them as they are, as a side dish for, with your main entree, or you can add them to a salad with maybe some cranberries, as well as a pasta dish would be a great addition to a pasta dish. So I want to thank you for watching our tips on butternut squash, and I hope they helped you in your own kitchen.